Wait, I'm so sorry. Do you mind repeating the question?
How old was the wife of your prophet Muhammad?
I'm not sure.
9 years old. He married her when she was 9 years old.
Okay.
9.
Okay.
That's why, I have
You're allowed
that
to
just
believe what you
starts
wanna
with
believe,
my
100%.
fundamental disagreements with Islam,
I
and
do
it just goes
understand
up
that.
from there.
I know, but
Society
I think
changes.
someone was saying that. I think someone donated saying that we're not trying to convert you, and I was just trying to say I agree. I don't think it's like Muslims are trying to convert anybody.
All right.
But everyone's allowed to believe what they want to believe. And
Yeah,
that's
all
the
right.
end of it.
I'll
Yeah.
All right.
leave it there because it's a dating podcast.
it
We don't want to
is.
get into theology. I think that that's totally fair because it'll get brutal very quickly.
Of course.
I'm just going to leave it there.
We have JJ, Brian. All right, I'll read them, but you guys should send these as TTS. You look good. You look like you lost 15 pounds. Let me guess, no carbs. I lost a couple pounds. For the guys on the panel, how many of you would let your daughters go to a frat party without a chaperone, still choose the bear? I mean, man, we can't do questions really for the super chats, but I appreciate it, man. Although I didn't really specify that it's Streamlabs. So, what was the fucking question? Would you let your daughter go to a frat party?
Without a chaperone.
Yeah.
Just show of hands. Would you let your daughter go to a frat party without a
You said the
chaperone?
men on the panel.
Oh, to the men on the panel?
Yeah, I think they should.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. My daughter. I don't.
My daughter wouldn't want to go to a frat party.
I would. My daughter wouldn't go to college.
She wouldn't want. I mean,
Maybe she would. Maybe if I'm nice. I don't know.
if I'm nice.
All right, and then wait. Oh shit.
Has
I didn't
Andrew
mean
been
that.
talking? Is he on mute?
Has Andrew been talking this entire time?
Yo, Luis, thank you for gifted 10 memberships. Appreciate it. Okay, let me.
This is dual streamed, and so I do talk to my chat occasionally. I do tend to come
That's
from
the
my
last
house.
one.
So it's-
donated $20. It's not BS. She's sitting right there. Ask her if she wants to force you.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we'll
Muslims
just
can
end the
lie. They can
conversation
lie to
there,
the
yeah.
infidel. They can lie to the infidel, and they lie to the infidel.
Oh, did not mean for that to trigger twice.
We'll just put it in though, money back. Thank you for the dono.
All right, we have.
Yeah, I'm not trying to turn this into a religious debate, right? It moved that direction specifically because of the nature of the super chat. I don't have any problems with the young lady here. She seems like she's very nice, right? But that'll turn into like a brutal slugfest back and forth. Neither one of us is wanting that, so we'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, the TTS is back up to 200, but thank you to everybody who participated in the little roast session. Thank you, guys. Okay. Okay. Andrew, the Bible allows blank sex between married couples? I thought I changed it. Not sure why it came through, but should be switched back. Not sure what that's about. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I'm just double checking. Oh, okay. I see what happened. Okay. All right. So let's get back into the pre-show notes. I don't know if we fully finished off. Kendra, you said, why do men suck at communication, not want to commit to women anymore? Right. If I recall correctly, Andrew, I actually said we would table, before we get back to that, Andrew, you were in the middle of something, and I said we would table it. Do you recall?
Yeah, we were discussing secular marriage. We actually stopped off with Maddie as the roast continued. That's Red Shirt Maddie, not to be confused with Employed by the Whatever podcast Maddie. I hope you don't get upset that I say Red Shirt Maddie, right? It's just an easy way to distinguish.
Totally fine.
Okay, great. So when we were discussing secular marriage, you were saying you don't really think that there's a good, compelling reason for a man who's non-religious to get married.
No, not necessarily, because there's just a ton of legalities that go into it. You could play the argument of, oh, well, if you want to be with someone long-term committed and you don't plan on ever splitting up or divorcing, then why not get married? But why get married? I think, like, personally, me, I want to get married under God. I'm a religious person. I'm Christian. And that's something that I would want, because I see it more as a union under God. And then the paperwork comes, and then we're legally and financially bind.
But even if there's
Yeah.
no paperwork, right, you consider this a sacrament, right?
I do consider it a sacrament, yes.
Okay. Moving over to the next, I believe it's Kendra. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you think of a good reason why non-religious men should actually get married to women in modernity?
I think it goes both ways for, making like sacrifices for each other. I mean, I think that'd be the only way. Like, you both sacrifice things, and
Couldn't you both sacrifice the same things without getting married?
I mean, a sacrifice in marriage would also be legality in terms of money, finances.
Couldn't that be settled with a prenuptial agreement?
Yeah, but during the marriage, you still share the same money.
Yeah, sure, but you could still share the same money if you weren't married, right?
Yeah, and that's the sacrifice. Because you're legally
I don't understand, what's the sacrificial part?
because you're legally bound, and like when you're not married, you're not. So like if I'm not married to somebody, I could have my own funds somewhere else. We could still share the same money, but like legally.
Yeah, so then what's the incentive to get married if you're
that's what
not
I'm saying.
religious?
The only thing would be like to make those types of sacrifices.
But you can make those same type of sacrifices absent marriage if you're a secularist. That's what I don't understand.
I mean, yeah, but it wouldn't be the same sacrifice. Like,
Why not? Why wouldn't it be the same? So if you're not religious, then you say, okay, but we're going to share all of the money, right? Exactly equally. Now you're not legally bound, but you just
Yeah.
do the same exact thing. What would be?
I mean, there's
it's
other
the same
sacrifices.
sacrifice, right?
There's other sacrifices besides just money.
Well, what are the other ones?
I mean, legally, you can't like be with other people. Like,
No, I think legally you can be with other people. So you could be married, for instance, and open your relationship up, and you would still very much be married. You could step out of your marriage, and you would still very much be married by the state, for instance. But even that aside, if you were a secularist, meaning non-religious, and you didn't get married, couldn't you just not step outside of that relationship anyway?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not married, so
Yeah.
I can't really speak on it. I don't know all the details.
Like for instance, right now, if you were in a relationship, you had a boyfriend, and you both loved each other, but you weren't married, you would still consider it cheating if you slept with another woman, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
easier to leave, though.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, exactly. It's easier to leave, but you would still consider it cheating even though you weren't married, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I mean, you could still have those same types of arrangements even if you weren't married, right?
Yeah, but I feel like there's just more of a sacrifice being made because, like, if you do cheat and you do decide to separate and you want to get divorced, there's a lot more that goes into that than just leaving.
Right. So from the perspective of the man, if he was going to get a worse end of the deal, generally, if that were to occur, if you were a man,
are to get married, or if there's children involved, and or if there's two different countries kind of thing. So it's like for one person to come over to the other country and stay within that country, a lot of times they have to be actually physically married in order to be, to have like a visa to actually stay here. Otherwise, it'd be a lot more difficult. So overall, I don't think there's an actual reason, but those are the only two that I think that are valid.
so the reasons that you would have would be, this benefits me in some way. But you would agree with me, for instance, even if we were talking about visa immigration, that people could get married who didn't love each other at all, just for the purposes of bringing that person over, right? And this happens quite often.
I completely agree with you. But again, we're just talking about the marriage part. So, that still, I think, counts.
Okay, thank you. And then moving over to Turkish. And by the way, you said your name is Turkish Delight. Did you get that from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? I'm just curious, right?
No,
Did you get
I
that
didn't.
from the movie?
I didn't.
No?
I'm sorry. I just like Turkish
That's the
delights.
only time I ever heard of that
they're
candy,
delicious.
by the way, was in that movie. But I was just curious.
I don't even know the
so,
movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can you think of a good, compelling reason why a non-religious person should actually get married, especially a man?
To be honest, I feel like you should only marry if you want I would only get married in the sense of religion. But I feel like if you want to get married, you should do it for the sake of wanting to, and it's like wanting the benefit of it. I feel like this sense of security. I know you're saying they can cheat regardless, whether or not they're married or not. But it's kind of more giving that sense of security where like you both know it's like an agreement that you're both communicating to stay loyal to each other, to stay with each other through sickness and in health, to being with each other, to working together on like your goals for your children. Like I'm very traditional in a sense of a man and a woman. They get married, they raise the children, have a family, grow old together. That's the
Sure.
way that I
Well, hang on.
want it.
Let's
Sorry.
kind of take these one at a time.
Sorry.
Well, you don't have to apologize. I was just getting your position down.
Okay.
So, starting with the last thing you said first, why couldn't a man and a woman do all of those same things you just stated, not married?
They can. There's definitely people that do that without marriage. But me personally, I think
Yeah, I know
it's-
you. Hang on, you personally. We're going to leave that aside, right? This is not what you, as the religious Alexa, would do. I already know what you would do. You want marriage. You want the kids. You want the husband. You want the covenant, right?
Yeah.
What we would call the covenant.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it in Islam, but what would we call the covenant? You want that. Got that. Can you think of a good reason, though, why men who are not religious should get married?
Men who are not religious and do not believe in any God, they don't believe in any religion, they don't believe in heaven and hell, like atheist type, like genuine questions.
Yep. Those types.
They would do it for their significant other to make them happy. Like for
Yeah,
example,
but-
if I was marrying an atheist, I feel like they would only do it for the sake for me. I feel like regardless,
Yeah.
they
Why
wouldn't really
would and
care.
why would that be? But why would that be good for them?
Because maybe they need to be married under their own act, like they want to be married.
Yeah, but they don't want to be married.
No. I know they don't want to, but I'm saying you're asking me why would someone who is
Yeah,
not
what would
religious
actually be
want
the
to?
incentive? So the question here is, if you're an atheist or a secularist, non-religious, you don't believe in all of what you consider the god voodoo, hoodoo, the sky fairy, the, whatever you call it. And you look at the deal that a man has in modernity in the West in marriage and what happens with divorce and things like this. What would your actual incentive to get married to a woman be?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like if people don't really want religion, I don't think they really want marriage because it doesn't hold any much value to them. But
Right.
if they were to do it, it would honestly be for the sake of the other person. If the other person wanted the marriage,
So your answer is basically just only if it made the other
someone
person
else happy. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Because like,
but
yeah.
let's say you were just you were sitting down in a room, and it was just you were just purely being asked this on a cost benefit analysis, right? Let's say that you were a marriage counselor, and your job was to only do a cost benefit analysis. Two secularists came in, non-religious, and they sat down and they said, "Look, she wants to get married and I don't because I take all the risks and she's not taking any risk, right? The courts favor her, everything else." What would your advice be to him if that was your job?
Oh my God. I'm going to be honest. I feel like if he's looking at the relationship in terms of loss, then that doesn't feel like a genuine relationship. Because you'd want to, this is my opinion.
But isn't she doing the same thing by demanding he get married?
But like, shouldn't she bring something to the plate by getting married? Like, is it just all of his money? Like, I feel like, wouldn't she be also contributing to the marriage and contributing to the money and contributing?
Yeah,
sorry.
sure, but why should he take the additional risk if they already have the equal contribution?
What is his additional risk?
The additional risk is that the courts will likely favor her in the case of divorce, and the chances that they get divorced is actually quite high. So you are here just doing a cost-benefit analysis, and he says, well, based on what I'm seeing, it looks like it might be a really raw deal for me and a very good deal for her.
But why
And
is he
these are your
thinking about-
clients. Hang on, these are your clients, and you have to give him the advice. What would you give this atheist? What advice from just a purely cost-benefit analysis would you give him?
Don't get married.
I think
No,
maybe.
hang on, let her answer.
I think I would honestly just say to remain patient and to like organize other things before the marriage card becomes dealt with. Because one, I feel like I wouldn't want to be with someone who's worried about being divorced. I don't know, that's weird to me. Like, don't you want eternity with me? Why are you thinking about the outcome?
Well, they don't believe in eternity.
But then, so they should be focusing on the present. And on the present right now, I'm telling you I love you. I'm telling you that I want to commit with you. And I
Yeah,
want
they
to.
love you, and they love you too.
And if they're scared, then I think it's something they just need to wait on. Like, I don't recommend getting married if that is something that's like, if that's going to make them feel bad.
So you would tell them not to get married.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
so essentially, your advice ultimately to the man would be, don't do it.
Don't do it now until you're comfortable.
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, don't do it.
Yes,
right?
the
Because
now
if
aspect.
you were just doing pure cost benefit analysis, so your advice to the man would be, don't do it.
Yes, if that's gonna,
Yeah.
but I feel like the partner should also understand it from their part. Like, if my partner was feeling like that and saying like, I feel like there's divorce or whatever, I feel like it's just like, it's about like coming to an agreement. It's about meeting halfway, like seeing how can both people be happy. Like, if he's
Yeah.
that worried, like, oh my God, we need to talk about that.
Can you look right into the camera and tell that man no?
No. Did I do it right?
You did it right. You did it right.
Okay.
You aced this test, I promise. Moving over to Q. Q, cost benefit analysis, right? Can you give me a good, compelling reason why a non-religious man in modernity should get married?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't see the overall benefit in it, especially if the foundation is holy matrimony. The only thing that I would say would even be potentially compelling enough would be dependent on how much they value just the idea of it, in the sense of, I want to be married, you know, and maybe they grew up religious and converted to being atheist.
So like
and
there's
all.
a tradition behind it.
Yeah, like just
But let's give you the same scenario. I think I can understand the idea that because my parents were married, my grandparents were married, I also want to be married, even if, even if I'm not religious. I think I can kind of wrap my head around that. But help me out here. You are doing a cost benefit analysis, sitting down with this couple who are both atheists. And the man says, look, this looks like it's going to be a really raw deal for me. I'm taking a lot of risk here. And it seems like the risk is very mitigated on her end. So we either do a prenup or I'm just not going to do the marriage. What would you advise this man to do?
Well, first I would warn him about all the risks that he's involved with. That's the first thing. I would let him know.
He's already acknowledging the risk. They're
Yeah, so-
arguing because she wants to get married, he doesn't. Because of these risks.
It's not really-
Can you tell me the compelling reason you give him as to why he should?
No.
No.
I can't really think of a.
No.
Yeah, no.
Can't give him. So I just want to reiterate, this is the men and the women agreeing. Not a single person has been able to give a good reason for why men in modernity should actually marry non-religious women, and them not being religious themselves, why they should get married. I just wanted to point that out, right? Maddie, what about you? Right, I haven't picked on you in weeks, which I always feel bad about. Tell me, can you think of a single reason?
No, I mean, if you're even hesitating marriage, I don't think you should get married at all. The only reason I can actually think of, which kind of sounds like a little manipulative, is that it's harder for her to leave. Make it a pain in the ass for her to leave.
It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't think you should get married, though, if you're even hesitating, thinking about it.
Okay. Well, I have one more question to go around to the panel. We're going to start again with Savannah. So this is kind of a really basic hypothetical, but really interesting the answers we get off of this. So starting with you, a random woman and a random man, okay? They're put in front of you, okay? Which one? Now both of them, you don't know which one, okay? Which one do you think would be more likely to tell you the truth? Out of a random woman or a random man, which one do you think would be more likely to tell you the truth? The man, okay. Moving over to Gabby, random woman, random man, which one do you think would be more likely to tell you the truth?
I agree, a random man.
Okay. And then Maddie,
A man.
a man. And then moving over to Kendra.
A woman?
You think a woman would be more likely to tell you what's true? Okay. And then moving over to Emma.
A woman.
A woman. Okay. And then moving over to Alex.
It's a very difficult question, honestly, because
It is. Well, it is. I agree with that.
So, honestly, I have no idea. I feel like it's 50-50.
Okay. Well, then, whichever one you would, whatever that like small, tiny, minute grain of possibility is that you would lean towards, because these are your only two options, which one do you think would be more likely to do so?
Okay, so just because, as you said, I come from a feminine perspective and my own perspective, I always tell the truth. I would say a woman only based on that fact and that fact alone.
Okay. And then moving over to Turkish.
Because they're random, completely random, I would say a male.
A man. Okay.
Yes.
So moving back to you, Savannah, why did you pick a man? Why do you think a man would be more likely to tell you the truth than a woman?
I feel like guys often like tell the truth more than a girl does. I feel like girls lie more than guys do.
What type of lies do you think women tell more than men? Because, I mean, men and women both lie. We both agree that's true, right?
I mean, it could be anything, like the smallest things. I'm
Like
trying to-
what types of things? Well, one of the things that I hear a lot, and I don't want to lead you in this, but this is just what I hear a bunch, is white lies. Like they'll
Yeah.
often pick each other apart in their brains while they're telling each other compliments that they don't really mean, things like that.
Yeah, that's
Would,
true.
would that, yeah?
Yeah.
Those types of lies?
I think
Okay.
so, for sure.
Okay. Gabby, why did you choose a man?
In my experiences dealing with both men and women throughout my life, I've found women to be a lot more fake and they lie about things a lot more than men do.
Damn. Okay. Maddie, why are we going with a man, Maddie?
I went with man because I think as girls, women, we don't want to necessarily hurt each other's feelings. So like if I were to ask a random woman on the street and I'm wearing a butt ugly dress, I said, does this look cute? She's going to say yes because she doesn't want to tear down my self-confidence, even though it's not necessarily the truth. But a man is going to be more likely to tell me straight up that dress is ugly. That's how I feel.
Okay. And then moving over to Kendra, why did you pick a woman?
Because men be capping.
Like, okay, I don't know what that means exactly.
They really like to put an emphasis on things that, it is what it is, but they like to like gas it up a little bit.
Exaggerate.
Exaggeration? Yeah. Okay, well, I think that that's maybe fair, but when it comes to actual truth telling, like I'm going to tell you the raw, honest truth, you still think women?
I think there's a difference between the truth and the fact. So
What's the difference between the truth and the fact?
the truth is like what it really is, and a fact is just an opinion based on like evidence that everybody has gathered and collectively agrees on.
Yeah, but don't you think that most people would say a fact is the truth?
No. I mean, if you don't know the difference between them.
Okay, so I actually don't. I'm trying to figure this out from your purview. So everybody agrees to something. That's what makes it a fact,
Yes.
but
Based
it
on
can still be
evidence.
untrue.
The truth is something that's actually been proven, and like it's true. Well, actually, it's a fact that this table is white. That's just what society has gathered.
But is it true that the table is white?
No, it's a fact because society as a whole said this color is white.
Hang on. So is it untrue that the table is white?
I mean, I'm not saying it's untrue. I'm not saying
Is it
it's true.
But you're not saying it is true. Well, okay.
What we
I guess
all know-
another way to ask this, do you think that people can know what is true?
No.
Okay. So if you don't think that, and I understand that worldview too, if you don't think people can know what is true, then let me rephrase it for your worldview. Do you think that a man or a woman is going to be more likely to tell you what is factual?
A woman.
Okay. And why did you choose woman?
I don't know. I have a different like experience with women. Like my closest friends Like, we're all very honest and blunt with each other. But a random person, just
Yeah,
because,
this is random. Random man, random woman.
yeah.
Which one do you think would be more likely to tell you a fact? Even if the fact was uncomfortable or something you didn't like or something you didn't appreciate or, this
I
type
think
of
still a
thing.
woman. I don't think a man.
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't think so.
So it's been your experience that men have been less honest with you, at least when it comes to facts, than women.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Emma, same thing to you. Why did you choose woman?
I think womanhood, it's like a girl to girl thing. So I feel like as a woman, other women are more reliable. So if I'm like, hey, do I have something in my teeth? They're like, yes, girl, I got you if you do. Like,
You want a man say that to you too if you ask him?
I don't think so.
You don't think a man would tell you if you had something in your teeth? If you asked him, do I have something in my teeth? You think he'd be like, no.
I don't think they're as reliable to tell you that.
Okay. And then Alex, why did you choose a woman?
So again, just based on my own personal, of the way that I go off, because I do feel like it's about 50-50. However, just based on your question earlier for the factual part of it, I do think that man will actually present the facts and women would present more of the feelings. Does not.
Well, hang on. Do we, then you don't believe we can know what is true?
Both can be true though, because for a
Yeah,
woman,
and I'm not
her
asking
feelings,
if it can be. I'm
her
just
feelings
asking-
are true. But
Yeah,
it's
my
like,
question is not that. My question is just, do you think we can know what is true?
we as in who? Like the person
And
who is listening to the
can
lie?
you know what is true? You yourself, Alex, can you know what is true?
True of what? Like,
True. A statement which is truth
that someone else said or that I'm saying?
that you're saying.
That I'm saying, yes, I can think that a statement is true.
Okay, but does that make it true?
That does not necessarily make it true for
Got
everybody
it.
else.
Okay, so now that we know
Yeah.
that you thinking a thing is true doesn't make it true.
Yeah.
Do you think people can know what is true?
In general, people could, but then at the same time, they don't actually know because
Got
everything
it.
is
So
based
then
on their
we're
own
gonna just
perspectives.
right. I understand completely. So then we'll just do the same
Yeah.
thing and say facts.
Yeah.
Who do you think is more likely to tell you the fact of the
And
matter?
as I've said, I think men are more likely
Okay.
to present the facts. I've already said that, like the actual facts of the general knowledge instead of the feelings and the personal truth.
Got it. Okay. So then, do you agree with me that most people would use the term fact and truth interchangeably?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's- most
Technically,
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's not
So when I
true.
ask you,
Most.
so when I ask you this question, and I kind of rephrase it to, okay,
Yeah.
now facts, you agree with me that we're essentially asking the same thing. right?
Yeah.
So your answer would actually change that men then, if most people use truth and facts interchangeably, men would be more likely to tell you what is true.
If we're using it interchangeably
Yeah.
and there's absolutely no, yeah.
Difference. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
if there's absolutely no difference, no nuance, yes, I would agree with you.
Gotcha. Okay. And then Turkish.
Can I be honest? I feel like men just don't care. Like, they don't care to sugarcoat anything. They don't care to, like straight up, if I ask Q, someone asked him about the whole virginity thing and taking the girl's virginity and, what was the reason? He could have, sat here and lied and said, she did this or whatever. He just said conflict and I didn't want to deal with it. So, he just was blunt. He's like, that's the fact. And I move
Dude,
on. There's no
if I
need.
had a hand raised around the table from just the women, do you agree with her that men mostly just don't care and are very blunt with what it is that they'll say? Hand raise.
Sure, they might not communicate, but when they do, I think they're blunt. Well, the ones that I've dealt with anyways.
Okay. All right. And this kind of leads to the last question. And so these are all intertwined for a reason, right? So for those of you who chose bear, can you raise your hand? Okay.
And Maddie chose bear.
Maddie, do you chose bear?
Yeah.
Where's Maddie?
She did. She's just
a-
gonna
yeah.
come back in a second.
Okay. For those of you who chose bear, can you raise your hand again?
And then
And for those of you who chose that you would take truth from women, can you raise your hand again? Hang on.
Oh,
Alex.
truth for women.
So,
yes.
hang on.
Truth for women,
So,
yes.
so let me just ask again. Those of you who thought that you would get the truth, or those of you who thought that the bear would be better over the man, raise your hand.
Okay.
Oh, hang
better
on.
over a man?
Alex, just based on your initial answer, based on just your initial answer, those of you who chose bear, can you raise your hand? Thank you. Okay, so all three of you. And those of you who said that a woman would be more likely to tell you the truth based on your initial answer, can you raise your hand? It's the same three.
So what's the problem?
Well, I just want to, I just want to kind of point out that the women who would take the man's word over that of a woman, in general, tend to not take the bear. And those who would take the woman's word over the man tend to take the bear. And so I just think that this is a very interesting kind of thought experiment because I've seen this over and over and over. Now, I'd like to ask another question. Can you raise your hand if you're a feminist or identify with feminism? Alex, stop bullshitting
I
me,
have
Alex.
changed-
Stop
okay,
bullshitting me, Alex. We've been
so-
through this a million times.
Yes,
Stop
okay, so
bullshitting
I
me.
do know. Okay, I actually, the main reason why I even made the painting to begin with for Brian is because the show has actually changed a few of my views on a lot of different things, including feminism. So I actually do not align with the current feminist views at all. So,
Which ones?
that I do not want to dismantle the patriarchy. And also just to point out because the last
Do you
time
want to
there
vote,
was a
Alex?
question.
Do you want to vote?
I do want to vote. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So then I just got to ask you real quick. Which patriarchal systems do you feel men should be in charge of and women should never be?
So I actually don't think that man should be in charge. I actually, after the research, I'm more of a humanist. I think that everybody, so I think everybody just has, their own
The
thing.
good is the
and
good,
everybody-
man. Right? The good is the good, man.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I think everybody, just like I do not think you're a terrible person. I mean, I'm sure you think I'm a terrible person, but it's like, I do not think you're a terrible
Yes.
person. Yes,
Yes.
I know you do.
Terrible person. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No,
But
no,
it's
I
like,
don't think that.
but it's like I think that everybody should just be able to live whatever that they want to live, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else.
All right.
So
Okay,
that's
so
it.
one more quick question, right, going around the table, just to, because right, again, this is just kind of a social experiment that I like to do. Can you just raise your hand around the table if both of your parents are still together?
My mom passed away though. Does that still count before?
Yeah, that still
Yeah.
counts.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to be included in this?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah. Both your parents are still together. Okay. Gotcha. All right. That's what I had. Q, I was going to pass it over to you for your questions.
I didn't have any. I was like, you take it.
Nothing?
Yeah,
You had nothing? Okay. Well,
yeah,
then-
I didn't have no questions. I was engaged in this.
We'll dive into this idea. This is we're going to move over to paleo psychology. This
Let's
is,
go.
by the way, Q, I believe that you're an expert in paleo psychology.
Evolutionary psych. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Kind of moving back, why do you think, Savannah, right, starting with you, why would you say that you think that men, and this has been pretty well researched, when men are asked what age demographic they find most attractive, they tend to go for your younger women. Q, do you know what the ages are? I think it's early 20s.
Yeah, it's I've seen it fluctuate between 22 and 23. I believe, yeah, somewhere between.
I think that's close to correct or correct enough, right? Don't quote me on this. But Savannah, why do you think that men tend to move towards that age demographic?
Probably because they look younger, better. I don't really know.
You think it's because
They
they're
haven't
youthful?
been with as many people, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They haven't
Knowing
been
that they're
with as many
younger,
people?
too. Yeah.
So like not as much baggage?
Mhm.
Okay, and then Gabby?
In my experience, when I was younger, dating men who were like 20, 30 years older than me, I think that they liked how open and curious I was. I think they liked having someone that they could teach things to, and like have a good time with. My mind wasn't like trying to control him or like thinking about the future. And I think some guys like that. They like having someone who's just open to living in the moment and that they can have the upper hand with.
What do you think about what Savannah said about baggage?
I agree. I think that that's one of the things they see. They see someone younger, and she most likely has less baggage than someone who's like in her 30s, like 38 and still single.
Maddie?
I think because there's a more malleable aspect about younger women, and in a good way and a bad way. Younger women haven't been with as many men or many people, don't have as much experience, but have typically at that time have a good amount. And then yes, the curiosity aspect of there is an older man wanting and willing and happy to show you the world, show you different things. It's kind of fun.
To the question, right?
Sure.
I just want to be concise
Sure.
so that you know. Why do you think men are generally attracted to younger women in their early 20s?
Because it's fun for the man to show the woman, the young woman, new things, because she could have less quote unquote baggage because she's younger and had less experience and not worn down by the relationships of life. And yeah, still the malleable aspect of her personality and how she can serve him in the relationship, essentially.
Okay. Kendra?
I think of it more from like a biological aspect. I think that, you know, men look for like best, just like kind of how every animal does. They look for like the best, like prime, you know, reproductive ages for like to reproduce and keep their generations going.
Okay. And then Emma?
I agree with the biological standpoint, and like fertility is what makes younger women attractive, but I also think it makes men feel like they were back in their early 20s, so it's more fun.
Okay. And then Alex?
Yeah, so I actually agree with every single person who's come before me, and especially like I was going to add that it makes a lot of times just feel younger and just feel more vibrant, and the life just feels overall better and happier, just because there's not as much baggage. There's the biological perspective, there's, you know, the past, and in general, curiosity. So
Yeah, sure. And then Turkish?
I have a question. When you say a man wants to be with a younger woman, is that
No,
why?
that's not what I said.
Oh, no.
So I'll repeat the question. Hang on.
Yes.
Let me repeat the question. The relationship data that both myself and Q have looked at just is talking about attraction, and that men are mostly attracted to women in their younger 20s.
So
That's
it's just
all I'm asking is
attraction.
why you think that is the case.
I think males are attracted to women who are younger in the 22s, 23s, because they're very free-spirited, free-willed. Like, I feel like women know as well when you're younger, it's kind of like party season. Like, when you get older, I feel like me personally, as I get older, I think I have to settle more into like finding full-time work and like getting my life sort of when I was younger, I was like, let's have fun, let's go out, like let's mingle and whatever. And a male will like to be around that kind of energy if they are older, I guess, to feel younger, to know that that girl probably doesn't really have, hopefully not much or many issues, really. Just like literally just give them a good time to have fun, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay, I got all your answers. Again, Q, don't come in on this just yet.
Okay.
I'd like to get you last.
Okay.
Moving back to the beginning of the table, Savannah, does it give you the ick if a 45 or 50-year-old man only wants to date younger 20-year-old women?
Not really. I mean, if a 50-year-old man, I mean, he could look younger than 50.
He doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't?
He looks like he's exactly his age.
Oh, then maybe.
It gives you the ick?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Gabby?
It definitely makes me think that maybe there's some trauma going on with the girl. Maybe that's why she's with him.
No. The question is, does it give you the ick if a man who's in his late 40s or 50s wants to exclusively date women in their 20s?
Yes, I think there's something wrong with that.
Maddie, does that give you the ick?
Yes, for me personally, it does, because where my life trajectory of where I want to go and where he wants to go isn't lining up. I'm not having kids. I'm not building a life with someone that's 50 and having kids with them just for my kids to be, 15 and their dads approaching their 70s. Like,
I understand.
yeah.
Kendra, give you the ick.
I want to say it gives me the ick. It's just not my thing. Like, I feel like...
Is it kind of icky and that's why it's not your thing?
No, I just think I have different chemicals in my brain that like different things.
Okay. Emma,
Very
does it give you the
icky.
ick?
Yeah, very icky, very kind of creepy.
Okay. Alex, give you the ick.
Exclusively only 20-year-olds?
Yeah.
It's a little bit questionable, but I mean, I
Kind of
don't
gives you
necessarily.
kind of gives you the ick.
But it's like I don't really care because
Yeah, I
I mean
understand.
at
But
that
does
point
it kind of give you the ick?
it's like I mean it would interest me as to why and kind
Yeah,
of
I know,
just
I
question.
get it.
So
that
it
you'd
would
be
not
interested in
necessarily
this.
give me the ick.
Hang on.
No.
I'm not asking
Yeah.
for like
Yeah.
massive reasoning
Yeah.
here or anything like that. I'm just asking intuitively, does it kind of give you the ick or not?
It does not give me the ick. It gives me
Okay.
question.
And then moving over to Turkish,
Yeah.
does it give you the ick?
Yeah.
Gives you the ick? Okay, so can I get a hand raised from all of you who said it gives you the ick? Got it. Okay. Hands down. All of you said and gave great reasons for why it is that you think that older men are attracted to younger women. And yet, when I give you the idea that there could be men who exclusively want to date that which they're attracted to, it gives you the ick. Can any of you tell me why that is?
I've been in that situation before, so when I see people in a situation like that, that's where my brain goes. But it doesn't mean that everyone is experiencing like the trauma I experienced. Other people could be very happy and they could be building the life that they desire with someone who's much younger than them. But to me personally, it gives me the ick, and I wouldn't want, if I had a daughter, I wouldn't want for her to be going out with someone that much older. If possible, I would prefer her marry someone who's a little closer to her age.
Even though you gave tons of reasons as to why it is that you, well, in your case, I guess you did just say trauma. We'll move over to Savannah. You gave multiple reasons, including baggage, things like this, and yet still said that it would give you the ick, even though you gave great reasons as to why a man, in fact, kind of should go for a younger woman. Can you kind of reconcile that for me?
Wait, what does that mean?
Can you
Explain
show me
your
how
rationale.
this makes sense?
Oh, why they like a younger girl?
No. Why it is that it gives you the ick that they would like a younger girl, even though you gave all sorts of reasons as to why they should like a younger girl.
I think the age difference is just really like, it's a lot. And I feel like they wouldn't have really so many things in common. Like, why would she want to be with someone that much older, you know? I feel like that's kind of weird. But then I get it, he wants to have fun. I don't know, but like a 50-year-old having fun with like a 20-year-old, that just sounds kind of weird.
Yeah, but you gave tons of good reasons as to why they should, and yet somehow it still gives you the ick.
Yeah, true. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Maddie, you gave multiple reasons as to why men should be attracted to younger 20-year-olds and gave all sorts of justifications for why they would be, and yet still find it icky as to why they would pursue them. Can you help me out with that?
Sure. Just because someone's pursuing me doesn't mean I need to pursue them. I can have a advantage or a leverage or all of that stuff. So what? I personally do not want to be with a 50-year-old man. They may want to be with me for biological reasons because I might not have as much trauma, this, that, the next.
Yeah.
If
Hang
you
on,
want
I'm
me, it
sorry.
doesn't mean I
want to
have
make
to
sure
want you
that
back.
maybe you misinterpreted what was asked. I asked if it gives you the ick if a man only pursues women in that age demographic, not you specifically. If you would find it icky dating a 50-year-old or whatever has nothing to do with the question.
Okay, so just to put them both out there, would I date a 50-year-old man that was only interested in girls in their 20s? No. if somebody else did,
I'm not even asking, I'm just asking if it's icky if a man exclusively wants to date women in their 20s.
Not necessarily.